They say history remembers its winners, but Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt, lost almost everything. Her throne, her kingdom, her dynasty, her life, and yet, 2,000 years later, her name still burns brighter than the empires that tried to erase her. Why? Because Cleopatra didn't rule with armies alone. She ruled with strategy, with charisma, with a political mind sharp enough to survive the collapse of 3 kingdoms and nearly reshape the ancient world. This is not the story of a seductress whispered about by Roman politicians. This is the story of a strategist who turned Egypt into the decisive power broker between Rome's greatest figures and almost changed history forever. To understand Cleopatra, we begin in Alexandria, the glittering capital of Egypt, where ancient Greek philosophers mingled with Egyptian priests and the world's greatest library stretched like a cathedral of knowledge. But beneath its polished marble was a kingdom cracking under its own weight. The Ptolemaic dynasty, founded by a general of Alexander the Great, had become a snake pit of rival siblings, assassinations, and civil wars. Cleopatra was born into chaos, where royal children were raised knowing one truth: only one survives. And even that wasn't guaranteed. When her father, Ptolemy the Poisne, died, Cleopatra ascended the throne at just 18, co-ruling with her younger brother, a boy manipulated by powerful advisors who wanted Cleopatra gone. And soon, they succeeded. Cleopatra was driven from her own palace, forced into exile with nothing but a few loyal supporters. Most rulers would have been crushed, but Cleopatra understood something crucial. Egypt might be powerful, but Rome was the referee of the ancient world. Whoever won Rome's favor won their kingdom. And Rome was being torn apart by its own civil war between Julius Caesar and Pompey the Great. Then came the moment that changed everything. Pompey, fleeing Caesar's armies, sought refuge in Egypt. Cleopatra's brother, trying to impress Caesar, had Pompey murdered the moment he set foot on shore. But the plan backfired spectacularly. Caesar arrived in Egypt soon after, furious. A Roman general did not take kindly to the murder of a Roman statesman, even an enemy. Cleopatra saw her opening. But how do you reach the most powerful man on earth when the palace is locked against you? Legend says she smuggled herself inside a rug. Others say a linen sack. But either way, she entered Caesar's presence dramatically, boldly, and on her own terms. The story became myth. But behind the theatrics was a calculated political gambit. Cleopatra needed Caesar, and Caesar needed Egypt. He needed its grain, he needed its wealth, and he needed a stable ally in the East. Together they forged an alliance that restored Cleopatra to her throne. Not because she bewitched him, but because she convinced him she was the only ruler capable of keeping Egypt loyal to Rome. But what happened next shocked everyone. Cleopatra didn't simply reclaim her power, she embraced it. She sailed the Nile with Caesar, presenting herself to the people, not as a puppet queen, but as a pharaoh reborn. She strengthened Egypt's economy, reformed its bureaucracy, and projected stability while Rome spiraled deeper into chaos. Yet the world was changing again. When Caesar was assassinated, Cleopatra faced a new Roman landscape, a shattered republic ruled by 2 rising stars, Mark Antony and Octavian. And once again, she chose the man Rome needed in the East. Antony, commander of Rome's legions, a soldier politician with immense ambition. Their partnership is often remembered only as romance, but it was far more than that. Antony needed Egypt's treasury to fund his wars. Cleopatra needed Roman support to protect her kingdom from being devoured. Together, they forged a political alliance that terrified Octavian. As Antony campaigned in the East, expanding Rome's borders, Cleopatra became indispensable, providing ships, soldiers, and financial power unmatched by any Roman noble. For a brief moment, it seemed the ancient world might pivot around a new axis, one ruled jointly by Rome and Egypt, with Cleopatra at its heart. But Octavian understood public opinion better than any man of his time. And so he crafted a narrative, deadly, effective, unforgettable. He portrayed Cleopatra as a foreign temptress corrupting a Roman hero. He painted Antony as a man enslaved, bewitched, weakened. It was propaganda at its finest, reshaping political rivalry into a crusade to save Rome. Cleopatra wasn't just fighting for her empire anymore. She was fighting for her image, her legitimacy, her very existence. The war that followed was not just a conflict of armies, it was a clash of worlds. At Actium, their fleets met in a battle that would decide the fate of the Mediterranean. And when the winds turned against them, when their forces broke, Antony and Cleopatra retreated to Alexandria, knowing the end was near. But even as the walls closed in, Cleopatra did not surrender her power easily. She negotiated, she maneuvered, she attempted to preserve Egypt for her children. And when all hope was lost, she made one final choice, one that would echo through history. She refused to be marched through Rome as a trophy. Her death, mythologized by poets, was her last act of defiance, a queen determining her own end. After her fall, Egypt became a Roman province. Antony was erased from monuments. Cleopatra was vilified in Roman texts. Yet despite every effort to bury her, her legend survived. Because Cleopatra was more than a queen. She was a strategist who understood the three great powers of her age, Egypt, Antony, and Rome, and played them like pieces on a board few could navigate. She lost the final battle, but she shaped the world long after her kingdom crumbled. And that is why, even today, Cleopatra remains one of history's most captivating rulers. Not for the scandals whispered by her enemies, but for her ability to survive in a world designed to destroy her. A queen who dared to play three kingdoms against each other, and nearly won. If you enjoyed this journey into the forgotten strategy behind one of history's most iconic rulers, consider subscribing for more immersive stories from the ancient world. Every empire has its secrets, and we're just getting started.